Hey everyone, and welcome to your custom deep dive. Today, we're going to Oz.
Oh, yeah.
But not the Oz you think you know. We're diving into the 2024 Wicked film,
Okay.
the prequel to The Wizard of Oz,
Wow.
which means we're finally getting the backstory. Oh, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, Wicked Witch of the West.
I know. Our source is a YouTube review, and it is packed with details.
Okay.
So let's figure out what makes this adaptation so special.
Well, what's really interesting is that Wicked really flips everything you thought you knew about the Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
You know, on its head.
Yeah.
Like, the Wicked Witch was just wicked
Oh,
in
yeah.
the original, but this time we see her story, we see her journey, and all the things that led to her being labeled wicked.
Okay, so it's like the Darth Vader origin story.
Taylor
or
Scott.
Find out he had a hard time as a kid.
Right.
And makes you rethink.
Everything you thought you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about this Wicked Witch.
Well, she's actually not even called the Wicked Witch of the West in this film. Her name is Elphaba.
Elphaba.
Get this, she's actually friends with Glinda the Good Witch.
Oh, wow.
But they're total opposites. Their personalities clash, their beliefs clash, and it really causes a lot of tension in the story.
Okay. So we've got clashing personalities, a journey to wickedness,
Yeah.
and a friendship with Glinda.
Right.
It's already so dramatic.
It's good.
I have to ask,
Oh, yeah.
how do they handle the whole Wicked thing? Like, does she actually become evil?
Well, that's the really smart part. They use Elphaba and her green skin to address social prejudice.
Yeah.
She's really a symbol of how society judges people based on how they look or if they act differently. And so it digs into those themes of acceptance and diversity.
Wow, that's so relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it makes you think about how we just label people without truly understanding them.
Right.
So who plays these iconic characters?
So for Elphaba, we have Cynthia Erivo, who's just a powerhouse vocalist and actress. And get this, Glinda is played by Ariana Grande.
What? Ariana Grande
Yeah,
as Glinda.
it's amazing.
I can't wait to hear her sing Popular.
Oh, me too.
And who's directing?
That would be John M. Chu, the visionary behind Crazy Rich Asians
Right.
and In the Heights. He's known for creating those visually stunning films, but also with a lot of heart and soul.
Yeah.
And they actually brought Mark Platt, who was the producer of the Broadway version, to be a producer on the film as well.
So they really have someone who knows the source material.
Exactly.
Well, we've got a great story, an amazing cast, a director who knows how to create a visual experience. But we can't forget about the music.
Oh, of course not. And you know, they didn't just bring in any composer, they went to Stephen Schwartz,
Oh, wow.
who wrote the music and lyrics for the original Broadway show.
So all the songs that we know and love
all iconic songs
will be in there.
will be in the film. But here's a cool detail.
Okay.
The actors actually sang live on set.
Live, on set.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know how many takes that took.
I know, right?
But those performances,
Yeah.
I bet they're electric.
Oh, they're amazing.
Now, the review kept mentioning these incredible visuals and special effects. What can you tell me about that?
Well, you're going to see Oz like never before, and Amelia. They brought in Paul Tazewell, the costume designer from Hamilton, to create all these amazing costumes.
Right.
And then they built the sets for iconic locations like Whittier,
Yeah.
the Emerald City, and Munchkinland on a massive scale. They really wanted to immerse the viewers.
Wow. So how does it compare to other fantasy films
Yeah.
that we've seen? Like,
Well, the review actually compared it to Beauty and the Beast.
okay.
And it's an interesting comparison. Both of them are musical fantasies,
Right.
but Beauty and the Beast focuses more on romantic love, while Wicked focuses on friendship and societal pressures.
Right. So it's more than just singing and dancing.
Right.
So how does it compare to other movie musicals in terms of like success?
Well, Beauty and the Beast made $1.26 billion
Yeah.
globally.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Wicked is projected to make around $800 million, which is still extremely impressive.
Okay.
But the review also compared Wicked to the classic 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz.
Okay, so how does anyone, a story about the Wicked Witch of the West, compare to Dorothy and her adventures?
Well, it adds a whole new dimension to the characters that we thought we knew from the original film.
Okay.
Think of it like it's the missing puzzle piece, you know, that kind of fills in the gaps of why things happen the way they did in The Wizard of Oz.
So it gives it more depth.
Yeah, it really flips the narrative on its head.
Okay. Now, how does it compare to other films about strong female characters? like Frozen?
That's a good question. Wicked and Frozen both have strong female leads and explore complex relationships, but tonally they're very different. Frozen is more family-friendly, and Wicked is a little more mature in its themes.
So Wicked is not just a kid's movie.
Right.
It's got
some depth.
some meat to it.
Yeah. Exactly. And the review also compared it to Maleficent.
Oh,
they both reimagine classic villains and give them a sympathetic backstory that challenges the traditional idea of good versus evil.
Right. So it's not always so black and white.
Exactly.
Okay, before we get into all that, were there any fun facts about Wicked?
Oh yeah, tons.
Okay.
First of all, Wicked is being released in 2 parts.
2 parts?
Part 1 came out in 2024, and we have to wait until 2025 for part 2.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a cliffhanger.
It is. And I remember how we were talking about Ariana Grande?
Yeah.
She underwent intense vocal training to really embody Glinda's powerhouse vocals from the stage production.
Wow. Okay, what else?
Well, the movie is based on a novel called Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire.
Okay.
And get this, the idea for a Wicked film was being tossed around in the early 2000s.
Wow, so it took over 20 years.
Over 20 years to get made.
But I'm guessing they wanted to get it right?
Oh, absolutely. The passion for this project
Right.
really shines through.
It's not just about the Wicked Witch.
No.
It's about how her story changes the whole Wizard of Oz. It's like when you learn something new about history,
Yes.
it changes your understanding of the present.
Completely changes your perspective.
Yeah. So, knowing Elphaba's story changes how we see Dorothy's story.
Yeah, and her journey.
Wow. I am on the edge of my seat.
Good.
This is more than just a movie review. It's a whole new way of looking at a story we thought we knew.
Right.
So, what else does the review highlight?
There's so much more. We haven't even gotten into the visuals and how they use that to really enhance the storytelling and explore those deeper themes.
Okay, I am ready to go deeper.
Let's do it.
Let's dive in. All right, so I've got a visually stunning film with phenomenal music.
Yeah.
And deeper meaning than we might have expected. But let's talk about those visuals, because the review kept mentioning how the visuals enhance the storytelling.
Right.
How do they actually do that?
Right. Well, the film really uses visual storytelling to kind of add these layers of meaning to the narrative. So, for example, we have the Emerald City.
Right.
And they highlight how its shimmering green splendor isn't just about looking pretty. It's actually a symbol of the wizard's power and the illusion that he creates.
Right. So it's not just a cool-looking city.
Oh.
It represents the themes of power and manipulation and hidden truth.
It all ties in.
And then how does that contrast with Munchkinland?
That's a great point.
Because in The Wizard of Oz, Munchkinland is like very vibrant and whimsical.
It's very colorful.
How is that different?
Well, in Wicked, Munchkinland is still visually stunning, but it's portrayed as a vulnerable place that's kind of under the wizard's control.
Oh, so that really highlights this contrast between the beauty on the surface of Oz and the darker forces at play.
Right, and then you have Elphaba, who's judged just for her green skin.
Right.
You know, being different, even though she's good.
So how do they take this
Broadway
show and make it a movie?
Well, adapting anything from stage to screen is always a balancing act. You have to think about how to capture the essence of the play, but also use all the tools of filmmaking.
Right. So what did they keep? What did they change?
Well, they definitely kept the core story and all those iconic songs, but they also expanded the world of Oz. They used CGI and special effects to really create that immersive
environment because they have more freedom with film.
Exactly. They're not limited to a stage.
What other changes did they make?
They actually fleshed out some of the supporting characters and they added a few scenes that weren't in the musical to give it more depth and nuance.
So it's not just a film stage production.
No.
It's its own interpretation.
It's a new way of looking at it.
So we talked about this idea of good versus evil and how Wicked challenges that. So give me some specific examples.
Well, one way they do that is by showing us Elphaba's perspective. We see how she's misunderstood and judged and then ultimately vilified, not because she's evil, but because she's different and she challenges authority.
Right. It's like, who are we to say what's wicked?
Exactly. And then you have the wizard, who initially seems like he's good, but then we start to see his manipulative side.
Right. And he's power hungry.
Exactly.
It's like in real life, if you think you know somebody, and then they do something, and you're like, whoa.
You have to reevaluate.
Okay, so Wicked doesn't give us easy answers.
No, it embraces the complexity of good and evil.
Right, it's not black and white, it's all gray.
Exactly.
So it's like the film is saying, hey, look, there's more to this than meets the eye.
Right.
So let's think about these characters, their motivations, a little deeper.
Exactly, and that's what makes it more than just a musical fantasy. It's a story that makes you think about your own biases.
It's a reminder to not judge a book by its cover.
Right.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
Especially today.
In our world.
So Wicked is like a breath of fresh air.
I think so.
It encourages empathy and understanding.
And to see things from different perspectives, which I think is so important.
And it does all this while also being this incredible visual and musical experience.
Right. It's really powerful. And we haven't even seen part 2 yet.
I know.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Me too. But let's take a moment to really appreciate what we've learned so far, because this deep dive has been really insightful.
It has.
Wicked is more than just a prequel to The Wizard of Oz.
Way more.
It's a story about friendship, societal pressures, good and evil.
All wrapped up into this amazing package.
Right. It encourages us to look deeper, question our assumptions, and really see the complexities of the world.
And it reminds us that sometimes those that are labeled as wicked have the most interesting stories to tell.
That's a great point. But I have to wonder, what does all this mean for our listener? Why should they care about a green witch with a good heart? I think that's what makes this deep dive so